do learners really learn? What are the ingredients for optimal learning? Is it recitation, memorization, or testing? Most would agree no. For example, can you pass a driving test proving you know how to drive, then immediately hit the roads in a brand new SUV and expect to be successful? Of course not. This world is filled with unique characters, each trying to fit this world into a schema they have already created for themselves while at the same time trying to obtain and be able to use new skills. In my eyes and in the eyes of many professionals, the ultimate goal of learning is to obtain a set of skills that can be easily transferred into the real world. Let's now focus on my 12th grade anatomy classroom. I was challenged with the task of teaching about the heart and related structures. I first taught them about the organization of the heart, the valves and chambers, as well as blood typing. I sat back for a while and thought about what skill could my students learn with this information that will help them in the real world, and I immediately thought of the blood pressure cuff. The blood pressure cuff is a common cultural tool in America. Using the social constructivist theory of learning, I created a new unit. To begin this unit and break down as many barriers as possible, I challenged them to try and pronounce the scientific name for it.
Sphygmomanometer.
Thank you. Just
Sphygmomanometer.
Cygonomometer.
The purpose was to have fun and allow them a chance to not just ignore these tough words, since in science there are many of them, but also to allow students the actual chance to try and say these words aloud in a fun and engaging way. After that, I asked them what they already knew about the cuff. What is it used for? Where have they seen it? And how does it work? Keeping true to the ideals of the social constructivist theory, I knew I needed to find out how much information has been internalized regarding the cuff. Young kids play with a cuff in a doctor's play kit when they're young. Teenagers and young adults see it during every single hospital and doctor's visit. So what information lay deep in their minds regarding its usefulness? I listened as they explained. After that, I asked them to define blood pressure and explain how it works in a macroscopic and microscopic way using images and words. After collecting all of the responses and reading through their answers for the next day, I grouped them according to similar theories and allowed each of the groups to come up with a comprehensive definition and explanation of how the cuff really measures blood pressure. The two main ideas presented were: blood pressure is the sound of the heart that is recorded by the pressing of the cuff against the vein, and the pushing pressure of the blood on the cuff is what's measured. Each of the groups nominated a speaker to share their responses with the other groups. In a sense, they were defending their theories to the class, allowing for a question and answer session. After every group shared, the class as a whole came up with a common definition and explanation. Some of the ideas were accepted, while others were rejected. In the end, the definition they came up with is as follows. Blood pressure cuff measures how much push the blood has against the vein. Once that happened, I finally shared the accurate answer with the class, which was interestingly not far from theirs. By asking for students to create their theories, I was actually asking them to dig deep inside and find any alternative misconceptions they have about the material in order to proceed with accurate information. It was really awesome to see them arise at an almost accurate answer without any help. I was simply there to assist in the thinking load with the students, while the students assumed most of the load themselves. Finally, to make the skill meaningful, and once all of the misconceptions were cleared up, I allowed them to use the cuffs themselves. Students worked in groups of twos and put the blood pressure cuff on as they thought it should be used. I walked around and individually corrected each group and showed them the proper technique before they proceeded with the task. In the end, every group was accurately able to measure blood pressure manually. This lesson was especially interesting for me as the educator because I could watch them work with the ideas stored in their head about the tools and witness the transformation of ideas from individual thought to like minds to whole class. I was stunned how many students thought alike, but I was also pleasantly surprised at the level at which they could accurately articulate their ideas and cooperatively arrive at a very strong and fairly accurate definition within 1 hour. Using the social constructivist model, I see that it is very important to listen to what internalization has happened regarding these tools, as well as be able to scaffold and coach learning, not simply do all the thinking load for the students.